Hello everyone, welcome back and good evening. We have some more stuff to talk about tonight. We're going to be discussing everything that's been this word that's going around, the death cross. Have you guys heard of that one? Last time we talked about it was many months ago. I'm pretty sure I talked about it. It was back in March, April, that kind of area when we were experiencing 74,000 Bitcoin and the world was ending. So it's coming up again. We're going to be discussing that. The weekly close on Bitcoin's price, not good, fellas, not good. We had, I don't know whether or not to trust this chart because of the time zones. I don't know how time zones work, but yeah, apparently we've already started the new week, even though it's Sunday 9 p.m. on my time. I'm 7 minutes late, fine. But, like, do we trust this? Probably. You know what? Either way, I don't see too much, why delay this further? I'm just delaying the inevitable. We're going to have a trend flip negative over here, a bearish trend. So that's an inevitability, but I don't think it will be lasting for too long, is the only silver lining that I have for this. Everything's super risky for me still. I'm still in the futures market. I gotta change stuff up a little bit, I feel. I feel like I may go ahead and do spot markets like I used to do. Nobody loses on spot markets. Impossible. On Bitcoin, okay? And not financial advice either, because I could be wrong. But in my experience, if you were just doing spot Bitcoin, that is it. Yeah, you may or may not have had explosive gains like we've seen on some of the altcoins. No risk, no reward kind of deal. But, the risk is lower on Bitcoin. And it's got that guarantee, not guarantee, that it will rise. I can't guarantee anything on this channel. My whole channel will get a strike if I do that. So, no, nothing is guaranteed. If you buy Bitcoin, you will lose money. There you go. No, but you won't actually. No, but you will. You get the point, okay? So there's that. Yeah, I might just change stuff up is bottom line what I'm trying to say over here. Buy Bitcoin on spot and do whatever I have to do on the futures markets. Anywhere I see entries or exits that could either involve longs or shorts. I am going to indeed start shorting the markets soon. Not yet. I'm not selling everything off and shorting everything now, because what if it all just bounces back? I mean, I guarantee you money if I did do that. If I just sold everything right now at a massive loss, huge loss, and I just went short instead on everything at these exact prices, everything's just going to rise and go against me and liquidate me toward the upside. Is that a sacrifice I'm willing to make for my viewers here? No, probably not yet. So, sorry. I'm going to be a little greedy about it, but no. I'll suffer, I'll stick with it, I'll stay long as it takes. Okay, but we do have some stuff to look at over here. So, what happened today? We dipped a lot lower to 92,895. Can we just say that we closed the CME gap? Well, not really, actually, because CME futures are not even open yet, are they? And I think we do have to fully go all the way down to 91,000. In order to close this gap, if that's what we're talking about over here, in terms of this dip. These two white lines over here, that's where the CME gap technically was from all the way back over here in April, right? We had a huge gap in April. Why did I do that? So yeah, we haven't fully filled it up just yet. I guess they are currently open. Yeah, they're currently open. But we haven't fully dropped down to the 91. Does that have to get filled up in a CME gap? I guess so. So, yep, we're going to have to wait for that. That's up to you if you believe in that stuff. Me personally, not really, but I am astonished at how it does seem to be the case most of the time, right? But honestly, we all know that it's all just numbers, and the price will eventually do whatever it wants at the end of the day. So, there you go. If you really, really cared about that CME gap, looks like we're close enough to filling that. If Monday continues our normal trajectory, we might just continue dropping and we'll fill up that CME gap. But then hopefully fundamentals will take over and we'll start rising again. That's just a lot of hopium at this point. Resistance for Bitcoin is 100,000. Super trend is kind of flattened out over here. We have new pivot levels, which is excellent. Your immediate resistance is the 98,000 mark. And then 100,000, of course. Supports. I don't like what I'm seeing here. 88,890. So almost 89,000. I would really point towards the, what was this number again? 91,415. I'm just going to write this down. Just for my own reference. 91,415, I think I said. To fully fill up the CME gap. Right? I guess that makes sense. We can keep this drawn over here for now. To which at that point I would say, yeah, we could see a good bounce from that level. We were oversold back in November 14, 2 days ago. This drop that happened today didn't really take us to oversold territory, meaning that, yes, the drop can continue in the 4-hour chart. That's at least what I'm seeing here. I'm not liking it, of course. I'm obviously long, so I do want things to go back up, even if it's a little. I'll exit at a small loss. I say small, but it's probably going to be huge either way. Everything's still in the red for me, although surprisingly still, altcoins have been pretty strong. Pretty strong, except for Sui. Sui has been really disappointing me, and Sui is the one where I most have money on. 164 is where we dipped to today on Sui. I know I'm skipping ahead, but I really want to talk about it. I ended up adding more margin, dropping my liquidation price to 111. If you'll recall, my Sui liquidation price was, I don't remember. It was 160 something, I'm pretty sure. Probably 160 flat. I'm trying to pull up like an old video now. I talked about it yesterday. Let me find, it's going to be tough. This is Solana, BitTensor. That means oh no, Solana after BitTensor comes Sui. And it says my liquidation price was 156. Yeah, I think I did the right thing. We were getting really close to it. I'm like, this is a little uncomfortable. I'll just push the liquidation price down. So I did. I didn't add, I added to my margin, right? So it's not like I bought more Sui. I just increased the amount of money that belongs to me, which would help push my liquidation price lower. I had the option to drop it down to $1, but ultimately it was too far. So I decided to ignore that. Perfect. So for now, Sui is at 169, the current price. 171 was the low point from, I think this is lower than April 7 indeed. Yep, April 7 low was that 171. We're worse than April 7. It's probably due to, you know, in part, some of Sui's inflationary nature. That's just a part of it. But my average entry is still a little high, 229. But hey, we've been higher. Come on. Against all odds, too. Surely Sui will make an appropriate comeback. And I have been entering where I'm supposed to. Well, except for these recent dips. I ran out of money, okay? That's the truth of the reality here. I don't have much more money to cover for. If I do have anything, it will probably go to saving the Bitcoin position, which is probably the more important one for me. It's either that, or Bitcoin already did its rise. 126,000 was the top, and now... What I'm talking about here is the Bitcoin dominance. It hasn't been rising. We have a downtrend on it. Meaning that there's more money, it's either in stablecoins or in altcoins. Pretty sure this is... Does Bitcoin dominance include altcoins, please? Oh, how stupid. Stablecoins. It depends on the data on... Yeah, it does include stablecoins. Okay, alright, that's boring. But I'm pretty sure there's other charts. The, I forgot what it's called. There's other charts, though. The total 2 something. Total 2 excluding market cap. I'm excluding stablecoins. Oh, that's just the market cap of altcoins. 1 trillion. Fine. I guess I could use that math. The market cap of Bitcoin... Do I really want to do this math? Fine, I'll do it. Bitcoin's market cap is 1.8 trillion. Really? We're below 2 trillion on Bitcoin. That's not good. So that means if, well, what is this number here again? 1.01 trillion versus 1899. Can I just do 1.1 and then 1.9? So it's a 3 trillion total market cap. It says it's 3.24 trillion, so the rest of it is in stablecoins. Yeah, it looks about right with Tether, USDC. Tether has a market cap of 183 billion, so that's where the 200 billion almost. I'm doing like rough math here, so give or take. It is roughly that amount. It makes sense. So that's the amount excluding the stablecoins. And it seems like stablecoins doesn't even consume that much, honestly. So I think this is going to be exactly the same number that we're seeing with in terms of Bitcoin dominance. So all you would have to do is 1.9 divided by 3. Bitcoin dominance is about 63%, excluding the stablecoins. Which, yeah, 59 to 60, what did I say? 63? It's about the same. Meaning that, okay, my bottom line here is that since this isn't a downtrend, there are actually people willing to hold altcoins, including stablecoins, instead of Bitcoin. Because Bitcoin is currently, you know, one of the biggest sell-offs in the markets. But altcoins, some of them did have an impact, but a lot of them, they've kind of stopped the sell-off. And that's what people are noticing and seeing that, hey, maybe, you know, Bitcoin had its rise and now it's the altcoins' turn and we will have our explosive alt season. That could be the case. Maybe that's hopium. I don't know. But we saw that in the past, right? When Bitcoin dominance kind of comes down in 2021, it comes down crashing hard where people would just like, screw Bitcoin, we're buying altcoins, and Bitcoin dominance goes down to something like 38% of the total market cap. And this happened when? September 2022. Oh, okay. Well, we were in a bear market then. No, but here was a bull market all throughout 2021, and then 2022 is when things kind of decayed, right? And, you know, natural selection took its place, and eventually Bitcoin dominance slowly started rising once again, especially as soon as it was leading the way into 2024 when the ETFs got approved. Bitcoin dominance surged once again. We reached our peak in June 2025. So even still then, obviously we do not have an alt season. We did not have one. And, you know, things are kind of on their way down currently. So maybe we'll get our alt season. Maybe, just maybe. All right. That's all I wanted to say for that. We'll go ahead and talk about Ethereum. Wow, we hit 3002. That's crazy. I was saying, okay, let's just hope that Bitcoin does not go below 3000. And there we go. We're dangerously close to it. 3002 was our lowest point for today. Current price, it's already rebounded back up to 3140. Not too bad. Pivot levels are generated now. Drops breaking below 3000 could take it down to 2844. I do not want to see those numbers. Otherwise, the resistance we have, it's looking like 3250. And then big one around 3500 maybe. The downtrend invalidates at 3462 from the super trend, but maybe that does peak a little lower as time moves on, right? But as of now, 4,500 seems to be a good resistance, and 3,250. Did I say 4,000? 3,500, and then 3,250. Easy to remember, right? $250 difference from each other. I like that. Good. Moving on. I'm still in the negative for everything, like I said, so I'm not even going to go over my average prices. I'm sure you're sick and tired of hearing that. Solana made a new low. 134.25 was our low today. We've kind of come back up to 138.76 currently. Pivot support is at 147.69. Downtrend invalidates at 154. After that, we got 161 for your resistances. In terms of support, you got 123. And I liquidate at 115, which, in my opinion, is still a little far, but I don't like how dangerously close we are approaching to it. And if we do indeed flip over into a bear market, a lot of this stuff is going to go, and I'd hate to see it happen. What am I going to do about it? Absolutely nothing. Hyperliquid, current price is 38.61. We didn't drop too crazy on Hyperliquid compared to the rest of altcoins. Like, this is one of the few that has managed to hold very strong, in my opinion. We are technically in a downtrend with it. 43.23 is where that invalidates, so we're about from 38 where we are currently. Don't make me do math, but $5 off. If it is at, immediately they're at 39, and then the resistance would be 42.58. Compared to where the super trend is, I think you could average out a $43 resistance on Hyperliquid. Support would be our low point where we hit November 4. Using that same level, it's looking at $35.40. And then lower than that is 32.11, and these numbers don't exist. I'm not in Hyperliquid at the current moment. We did not see a good entry, in my opinion, in the 4-hour chart. So, yeah, no RSI oversold means no entry for me. I'm just going to leave it there. I know I did have some, you know, trades over here done, but they're trades that I've regretted. So I just ended up leaving a bit early. Yeah, I could have made some more profits on these, but whatever. It's against my strategy, right? And oh boy, what a good strategy do I have. The fact that I'm losing so much, right? We'll see. I think the strategy would work much better in the spot market if only I was a millionaire to, you know, not have to rely on leverage. No, I'm just a filthy retail trader who needs the leverage, so there you go. BitTensor, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and delete this uptrend because I'm pushing it for too long. It feels forced at this point, so I'll leave it alone. We made a new low to 309. Current price is 323 on BitTensor. Halving coming in December, don't forget. Also Grayscale buying into a trust for BitTensor. Also Bitcoin tokenomics, by the way. Also ETPs out, by the way, for BitTensor. So let's just crash on all of that good fundamentals, right? 342 is the immediate resistance, and then I like where this other resistance is at, maybe 375 to 380. That's where the downtrend really invalidates. So far, we are still in a downtrend, so anything that, you know, even rises but bounces below 380, I will just have to readjust the downtrend line. No big deal. In terms of supports, 286, 300, I think you could say is like a psychological level, obviously. So I'll go ahead and draw that out. And we'll have to wait and see what happens with BitTensor. No oversold opportunities for entries just yet. This one was a little rushed at 319. I just wanted to get into here, even if that means I would lose. No, actually, it lowered my average price. I've been in it since 402, I think. And that was close to oversold. So was this entry close to oversold. So that's just me trying to snipe as best as I can. But it hasn't been working out. Things are in a downtrend, and I guess I should have realized that. Although in the weekly chart, yeah, we are in a downtrend. In the weekly chart, if you are in a downtrend to this 4-hour RSI thing, it probably won't work as well. And I've done I've backtested the strategy like that. Because if all throughout, for example, in Bitcoin is where I majority of this backtested this kind of strategy. All throughout, you know, 2020 and 2021, when the super trend was in the green. Let me go to like a actual Bitcoin chart with historical data. And I'm talking specifically about the super trend here, right? All throughout 2020, late 2020, right? And 2021, all of this, if you did the 4-hour RSI thing that I do, worked out perfect. If you stopped trading throughout this time, you're safe because you could have lost a lot over here. And also it was uncertain whether or not we would continue rising. Here as well, you could have taken advantage of some. And then all throughout 2022 and up to December of 2022, that was all a bear market, downtrend, FTX collapse, etc. If you did the 4-hour RSI thing, you would have lost a lot there because it would have just kept on dropping and dropping and getting liquidated. Yes, I do it with leverage, so that's why. However, if you did it from January 2023, you will never fail. You would have never failed And that's all just because of this indicator that I have, the super trend on the weekly chart, telling you, yep, now's a great, good idea to be doing this kind of stuff. And it's worked all the way up until now. And now that things are changing, don't know specifically what to do with the bag that is currently opened. So we're just gonna leave it there, hope for a dead cat bounce, get out, and then I'll let the charts do their thing. But like I said, on spot, it's the safest bet. You're never gonna lose on spot. Yeah, you will. You will lose, I mean. You hear that, YouTube? You're gonna lose your money if you invest. Okay. Now that that is out of the way, now that the normies are gone, yeah, that's my strategy now. Moving on. Let's go to, we talked about SUI, let's go to Chainlink, down 1.43%, 1385. Cambodia pushes digital innovation. Isn't that a good thing? And why would Chainlink plunge due to that? And what does Chainlink have to do with Cambodia and crypto innovation? And if I was to look up something in terms of Cambodia right now, it would have absolutely nothing to do with crypto. I'm willing to bet the rest of the money that I have. Cambodia. Don't show me gore. I'm live on YouTube. Police raided a warehouse. Okay, stop hurting Cambodia citizens. Here's an animal. People talking about nothing. We ended the Cambodia-Thailand ceasefire. Yep, we know. There's nothing about crypto regulation. I'm just gonna stop scrolling just in case. But, so fake news. AI sucks. My only criticism of Bang X is this stupid AI. It does nothing. Doesn't help. Gives you misinformation. And it smiles at you when it does that. Anyways, our low point on Chainlink today. New low, by the way. 1338. No oversold territory just yet, meaning that it is actually holding pretty strong. Kind of. No, we're still in a downtrend though, right? Invalidates at 1564. Resistance we have at 1463. Like I said, the current price is 1385. Support is at 1247. So we got some room left to drop. And then this is the last resort, which 1120. If we see that, I'm gone. I will be out of here for Chainlink. I don't know. I'll probably pull out money from somewhere to DCA. We'll see though. For now, no, not touching it. Aptos also on its way down, but still, you know, kind of keeping the uptrend, although it's like on life support at this point. We're at a critical area with it. Imagine if Aptos is like one of the only ones that doesn't flip into a bearish super trend and we just continue higher from here. Could be the case. Could be. If Monday ends up being good and people wake up and realize, hey, why are we selling crypto? Can we just start buying again? Everything is cheap and crypto go up a lot, so please buy. Maybe people will have that mentality and we can start rising again. That would be great. And Aptos would be the one of the only few that actually looks decent, right? I did the good thing, the right thing over here, buying when it was oversold. Could have bought a lot. I don't know. I don't think I was supposed to buy that much more because we were oversold for a very long time over here. Prices, these are new lows for Aptos, literally new lows, all-time lows. 238 was where we hit on November 4. Which, whatever, I partially took advantage of that dip and then ended up selling when we had a huge rise over here. Deserved. So there you go. That's the way to do it when things are decent. Although in the weekly chart, I shouldn't really be doing it because we are in a downtrend for it. But that would mean I'd have to wait for Aptos to break $5.46. And by then, I'd just rather, you know, buy at $2 by the time we hit $5, right? I'd make some profit on the way up. I don't know. I don't know what to do with this strategy. But hey, that's my problem, not yours. Bitcoin's price is 95,000. We are slowly creeping our way back up. What if Eastern Standard Time is on top? Let me check something. How does time zones work? Yeah, thanks for doxing me, but yeah, here's my time zone, Toronto. Can I change? No, this is date format, 24-hour format. No, I don't want that. Okay, stop. Can I like change to Here it is. Candlestick opening price is in UTC. It's either that or in Singapore time, which is 8 hours ahead. I'm in UTC -5, 5 hours behind because of my time zone in Toronto. Brother. What does TradingView use? Do we also use, yeah, we're doing 7, 11, 5, 9, 23 o'clock every hour, like every 4-hour chart. Meaning that in the weekly chart, yeah, things have already moved on forward. But if I go to like a different Bitcoin chart, like let me go to good old Binance or Coinbase. Let's go to Coinbase. Oh no, they also flipped over. Okay, so I guess we are using UTC universally. That's boring. That's annoying. And yeah, we're also doing the 1 hour behind thing because unless it's something I have to change here on TradingView, I don't think so. This is me just being super picky, by the way. Where would it even be? Would it have to be like somewhere here? Oh, it's literally the same button. Yeah, before I mess anything up, I'm just gonna, you know, the time zone is the same. Precision. Okay, whatever. No big changes. It's all the same. Every chart uses the same format, is what I conclude. So yeah, there you go. Confirmed weekly trend change is now bearish. Whether you're using the moving averages, whether you're looking at a death cross in the daily charts, whether you're looking at the super trend that I use, I'm pretty sure a lot of us are confirming the trend change. Some other people I've seen using Bollinger Bands, I think. Apparently that hasn't really flipped over yet, but I feel like those are such slow indicators and it takes a very long time. In my opinion. But yeah, it's up to you. Everybody uses their own indicators, their own interpretation of the market, which is excellent, right? You do you. Yeah, that's all I could really say about it. So, gonna keep my head up, of course. I'm not gonna get depressed over this. I still have faith. We can obviously do one more rise, right? Even if we reach, you know, whatever this resistance is, about 100,000. Yeah, I think I'd be more willing to maybe set a stop loss or just relax a bit. I don't know. I'll see what happens. But at these points, I feel like we are too oversold. Don't rule out the fact that we can drop to the 91,000, fill up the CME gap if we so have to, if this thing even does exist, right? But you know, we should be oversold for sure on Bitcoin, which we have already been multiple times. Honestly, like the only entries I should have made would have been at 106,000. Let me do the math here. How much should my average price have been if I entered them accurately? 106,512 plus the next time I was really oversold would have been 100,451. This is a rough estimate, by the way. That's 2 entries. Is this oversold? It was. What was our closing point? 105,697.5. Okay, sure. That's 3 entries. 4th entry would have been over here at this close, which is 94,467. How many entries is that? I'm assuming that was 1. Hold on. Yeah, it was 1, 2, 3, 4. Would I have bought this one too? I probably would have. Close of this one is 96,092. 6092. And that's 5 entries then, right? My average entry should have been at 100,643, which would have been, it still would have been at a resistance, my average entry. And that is if I equally put money on each one of those price points. Ideally, what you should do is, you know, put a little, and then start putting more and more and more. So obviously you bring the weight of the average price much lower, like I did with BitTensor, for example. I bought BitTensor at 402, and then I also bought at 320 almost, right? And it dropped my average price to 356, which that's a little better, right? BitTensor is probably the only Not even the only correct one, because I didn't even really buy when things were oversold. We never were truly oversold on BitTensor. We've hit RSI 30 and some decimal point, but ideally it should be below the 30 on the RSI, the 30 mark level, whatever. So yeah. But anyway. Fill up that CME gap. Let's go ahead and talk about our news. We do have some stuff to talk about today. A lot of analysis specifically, so it's going to be an informative one. Get ready. First of all, just a little update on what's going on between all the stuff with Epstein files. Marjorie Taylor Greene, Thomas Massie, fake Republicans is what Trump is calling them. The feud is escalating. Marjorie Taylor Greene says that she is now getting hoax pizza deliveries and pipe bomb threats. That's not good. And she's blaming Trump's unwarranted and vicious attacks for it. Basically, I don't know who would attack Marjorie Taylor Greene like this. Obviously, it's wrong to do it, and come on. She supports Trump, or supposed to support Trump. She has been criticizing Trump, but I'm sure, you know, this is the freedom of speech that we all have, or had, I don't know, in these northern countries, European countries, Canada, if we really truly have free speech, like the First Amendment protection that Americans have. But anyways, in America, you're allowed to say whatever you want, as long as it's not too harmful, right? Or inciting violence and none of that stuff. Some could argue that maybe Trump is the one inciting the violence over here by, you know, saying that Marjorie Taylor Greene is rotten, Marjorie Taylor Brown, Marjorie... Why did he replace the Taylor with something? I don't know. It was like trash brown or green, something like that. Traitor, Marjorie Traitor Greene. That's what it was. Like calling her names, right? Childish insults, sure. This is an 80-year-old man, by the way. And, okay, well, whatever. Now she's getting pizzas delivered to her house, meaning that obviously people know where she lives, and what do you even do in that case? You get pizzas delivered to your house. Are you forced to pay for it? You would have been like, hey, well, no, I didn't order these pizzas. What are we going to do about this huge box that you have in your hands? Would we just sit on the porch and enjoy the pizza and laugh about how we're getting bullied online or whatever? So what even happens in that case? But anyway, the pipe bomb threat is obviously a bigger issue. You don't want to explode into smithereens. So, yeah. They were a dog whistle to dangerous radicals that could lead to serious attacks on me and my family. She then proceeded to write a huge paragraph that I'm not going to bore you guys with, but that's just a little update as to what has been going on. And don't forget, Trump is attacking these people, kind of attacking, but, you know, pointing fingers at them, I guess, because of the Epstein file thing. That is, they're the Republicans that are in the lead for, like, the face of the Republicans who want to release the Epstein files, right? The four major ones: Lindsay Boebert, something Boebert. Second one is Marjorie Taylor Greene. Third one's Nancy Mace, and then fourth is Thomas Massie. Trump doesn't like Thomas Massie, and he has developed a recent disgust for Marjorie Taylor Greene, especially after going on The View and flirting with maybe becoming a Democrat, which a lot of people obviously would not be happy about. But she's been a Trump supporter for a while now, so I don't think that's really going to happen. But maybe, I don't know, the way she's being attacked by Trump, she might feel the urge to just go ahead and switch parties or something. I don't know what's going to happen with her. Here's what Thomas Massie has been talking about here. Next week, the House will finally vote on a... What? The House will finally vote on our real legislation. Okay, on real legislation to release the Epstein files. How would you vote? He put in a poll on Twitter. I clicked on yes, by the way, the 92%. Release the files. 92% of people agree with me. My hand is in the air. 0.7% want to keep the files sealed, which is like, okay, well, why? Why would you want to just release the Epstein files? We want to see what's in them. And then 6.5% say, oh, we don't care. It's a hoax by the Democrats. And that is just, you're eating up everything Trump is feeding you at that point. Obviously, it's not a Democrat hoax. Or maybe it is. I don't know. No, it can't be. it's pretty obvious that a lot of people who identify as Democrats were involved pretty heavily with Jeffrey Epstein, right? Some people also argue that, okay, well, so was Trump and maybe some Republicans, but I don't think so. It mainly seems to be like if the files were released and all of the names that we are suspecting do indeed get released, I'm pretty sure like a huge chunk of that percentage would be Democratic people, right? But Trump seems to be super protective over releasing these files and saying, no, we don't want them released because the Democrats are thinking that I am in it, but I'm not. Okay, so prove that you're not in the files. That kind of sentiment is what's been going on. But of course, Trump also has something to say about Thomas Massie. Put it a Truth Social post saying, did Thomas Massie, sometimes referred to as Rand Paul Jr., because of the fact that he always votes against the Republican Party, didn't he get married? Did he get married already? Boy, that was quick. No wonder the polls have him at less than an 8% chance of winning the election. Anyways, have a great life, Thomas, and question mark. His wife will soon find out that she's stuck with a total loser. The context to this is that Massie's first wife passed away in June 2024 after being married for 30 years and having 4 children together. Then he married Carolyn Grace Mofa, we're calling you out on the show, a former staffer for Senator Rand Paul, on October 1925. That is crazy. Related to Rand Paul. Not blood related, but, you know, worked under Rand Paul, is what it seems like. Crazy. But the fact that they remarried too fast is what Trump is calling out. I mean, come on, didn't Trump also have a total of 3 wives now? But I don't blame Trump. Melania is really cool. You know, whatever. Moving on. There's that. Trump says that the economy is as strong as it's ever been. So why are we crashing then? Reporter asks then, yeah, why are people saying that they're anxious about the economy? You know, the whole affordability talk. Trump is saying that, I don't know. They're saying that the polls are fake. We have the greatest economy we've ever had. Okay, well, if you say so. Moody's disagrees. Many states in the U.S. are in recession. A lot are on the brink of recession, as per Moody's. Keep in mind, though, I don't know if Moody's is that reliable. We had the same prediction from them. I don't remember if it was a couple months ago that Moody's was also claiming that we were in a recession or going into a recession, and that made markets crash on one of the days. But nothing ended up happening after that, right? So, like I said, take anything from Moody's with a grain of salt. There was something with Moody's from way back then. I forget specifically what, though. Scott Bessent says, well, in an incredible development, he announces that the U.S. economy will likely substantially accelerate in Q1 or Q2 of next year. Boy, I thought it was Q4. What's going on? Why are we delaying now? Just in time for the midterms. It's all part of the plan. 5D chess, everyone. The increase in real incomes, Americans will feel it in Q1, Q2 of year 26, thanks to Trump's plans. Will be a great year for working Americans for the markets. I call it peril of prosperity. Main Street and Wall Street can both do well, let's hope so. Trump's, well, what am I saying? Treasury Secretary Bessent says that the Trump administration is targeting a trade deal with China by Thanksgiving, and he is confident that China will honor the deal. It's good overall that we ended up not putting tariffs on China, that we were, you know, looking forward to getting this deal completed. Seems like that will be finalized before Thanksgiving, which should be before the end of the month, right? So, yeah, good for China and America. Here's the big issue that everybody is seeing, of course. Weekly moving average 50, key dynamic bull support since 2023. To keep the bullish trend intact, we need a weekly close back above that band, which obviously did not happen at this point. Last time Bitcoin closed below the 50 moving average was in August 2023. Took about a month before a massive rally followed. I don't know whether or not to look at it like that. We were looking at it as a simple moving average, I think, which looked really decent. Low and Chunks proposed that one, so It looked good, but this time around for the exponential one, obviously it's more correlated to giving weight to recent prices. That's what the exponential moving average does. And probably better for a weekly chart, right? I don't know. But nonetheless, every indicator you got, it's probably looking like we're going below, you know, whatever indicator you have, which would flip the trend over to something negative, which not something we'd like to see. Although, you know, can we admit that this is the drop that is making the most noise in this bull run so far? This is indeed the smallest Bitcoin dip of this cycle, yet the panic is so much louder. Wouldn't you agree? In 2024, when we peaked at 74,000 almost, and we dropped to a low of 50,000, that was a 33% drop. That was huge, right? And people were panicking, rightfully so. I was also panicking. Then we had our rise, you know, we made an all-time high. What would have this been? 112,000 in at the beginning of the year of 2025. And then Trump announces his tariffs and April 7 crash happens. That was a 32% drop from 112 to 74,000. Yeah, we were all panicking at that point too. Sure, fair enough. And where we are right now, Bitcoin making a high of 126,000, and the fact that we are now dipping to, where are we now, 95,000, that's a 25% dip. It's not as big as the 32% or the 33% dip that we saw at the beginning of this year and also last year. The only difference this time around is what I'm seeing from the people is the fact that the 4-year cycle is coming to a close, right? And people are saying, okay, well, you know, this might be it. This might be the end, and that's why we're getting a lot more noise around what's going on right now. Another big thing, if you go to the daily charts and use the moving averages of 250, people will notice that we're about to have, or we already have, a death cross. Yeah, I printed the death cross today. But here's the part that most people miss. The previous death crosses have actually marked local bottoms, not tops. If this cycle is still intact, the bounce should start within a week, and if it doesn't, expect another leg down before a bigger rally back toward the 200-day simple moving average, like forming a macro lower high. So, meaning, of course, we will drop and then maybe make a rise back up, but the 200 daily moving average will be on its way down by then, so it won't be another super high level, right? But it should be a recovery nonetheless. Trade the market in front of you, not the one you wish existed. Wise words. We'll see. There's a lot of posts that I have about this death cross, so it's not just that one. Some stuff might repeat, so just bear with me. We had the death cross today. Note that prior death crosses marked local lows in the market. Of course, when the cycle is over, the death cross rally will fail. We won't have a recovery from here if this is indeed the end of the cycle, right? The time for Bitcoin to bounce, if the cycle is not over, would be starting within the next week. So that's two different analysts calling for the same thing here. If no bounce occurs within 1 week, probably another dump before a larger rally back to the... Okay, this is literally the exact same thing. I think they just copy-pasted each other. Nice. Confirmed. Stealing each other's tweets. Moving on. Bitcoin just hit its 4th death cross of this cycle. Beginning one, I'm assuming this is 2023. We had one in 2024. I'm assuming this would have been around August. We had one in this year, 2025. In April, that's when that was happening. And we're currently having one right now. The last 3 marked excellent buying opportunities. Yeah, because we were early in the cycle. Historically, 1 year after a death cross, Bitcoin has been higher half of the time with an average return of 85%. So yes or yes, we're just going to go up, is what these people are saying. No matter what the price is Bitcoin. I think it would be a good idea to just get into it as much as you can. Not financial advice. You're going to lose all your money in Bitcoin and everything, so don't invest money. We're approaching the decision zone. The death cross just triggered 50 moving average, cross below 200 moving average. That gets crypto Twitter screaming. But if you zoom into this cycle, every death cross so far has lined up with local exhaustion points, not new macro downtrends. Price is already 25% below the all-time high, And that kind of drawdown has flushed out most of the short-term leverage, which we'll talk about leverage in a moment. STHMVRV is sitting near the capitulation band, showing short-term holders are underwater, the same area that marked previous local bottoms. Hopefully this is bottom. And by the way, JP Morgan's already wrong. I think it was JP Morgan, not to slander, but they said 94,000 was bottom. Well, we dipped to 92,895. No bueno. Long-term holders haven't capitulated, and that's the group that usually decides whether a death cross becomes a true downtrend or just a reset. So yes, the signal printed, but the context matters more than the headline. We are sitting at the intersection of oversold sentiment, technical exhaustion, and rising stablecoin liquidity. This is where Bitcoin historically decides whether it builds a base or takes one more flush to shake out the last of the weak hands. I think we're done doing that. Please, can we rise? No predictions, just the setup. And the setup says we're entering the part of the chart where things stop drifting and start moving. So stay focused. We shall see. The CME gap, it's a $92,000 CME gap. Yeah, 91,000, whatever I drew over here. 91,415. Around that area is where the CME gap bottom is, which should get filled, hopefully, as soon as possible, right? The sooner we fill that up, the sooner this stupid narrative gets out of the way and we can start focusing on rising now, because otherwise it's going to be in everyone's minds. Oh, the CME gap, it's still there. We have to clear it. We have to close it. You know, get that stuff out of the way. What is happening in crypto? Over the last 41 days, crypto's erased over $1.1 trillion in market cap, or $27 billion per day. The crypto market cap is now 10% below levels seen during record $19 billion liquidation on October 10th. What am I talking about? This is a structural move. The decline has been strange for one key reason. There haven't been many material bearish developments on the fundamental side of crypto. That's what I've been saying. And Trump keeps saying that America will be the #1 in crypto, and that is his top priority, yet we're still down. It's crazy that, you know, back in my days, if some government official would talk about Bitcoin, we'd have a huge surge in the price. If Elon Musk posts a picture of his ugly dog, it's a beautiful dog, I'm sorry. No, it is genuinely a beautiful dog. You know, something like Shiba Inu or Loki will skyrocket. Now, not so much. Now that the president talks about Bitcoin in a good way, no one cares. No, Bitcoin doesn't rise by that anymore. We make a golden statue of Trump holding a Bitcoin in front of the White House. No one cares. It's just going to keep dropping. What is going on? Also appears to be a structural mechanical downturn. It's because of October. Crypto funds seeing a lot of outflows. Leverage in crypto is unique. It's more common to take huge amounts of leverage. Easy liquidations, basically, with high leverage is what's going on. Sudden downswings in crypto because of liquidation surges. People will think, oh, well, how much lower can Bitcoin go? Let's just open a 200x long right over here. And you also have, like, it's like the Buzz Lightyear meme. Have you seen that? Where it shows one frame of, hold on. I can't believe I'm looking this up. This one. This one. So it's like, the bottom is in. I'm going to open a 200x long. Can I just open image a new tab? Oh, great. I'm banned on Reddit. I'm going to open a 200x leverage long on Bitcoin, and then everybody else is thinking the same thing. And then you all get liquidated. That's kind of the sentiment that I'm talking about over here, right? Okay, this is too much. Oh, well, the crypto sentiment, we're at extreme fear. 10 on the fear and greed index, by the way. Gold is still outperforming Bitcoin. The money hasn't flown over to here. Ethereum not doing so well either. Obviously not everything is doing good. The fundamental value of crypto has only improved, but market dynamics are shifting. As with any efficient market, the wrinkles will work their way out. We think the bottom is near, is what these guys think. I think the bottom is 91,000. I don't know. I've been calling bottoms for a long time now. I don't even know. As long as I remain bullish, price will go bearish, is what it seems like. No hope for us. Bitcoin falls toward 93,000, officially turns negative on the year as well. Total liquidations over the last 24 hours, $500 million. Who would have thought? You guys are crazy with it. And over the past 7 days, in total, it's 2.3 billion in longs that got liquidated. So once again, me explaining that meme. People are massive buying because they think that bottom is in and they want to snipe the perfect bottom and get a huge return when price inevitably bounces. Either way, it was nothing compared to what we saw on October 10. We had 20 billion in liquidations, if you'll recall. So in the last 7 days, 2.3 billion. It's still something, but, you know, it just goes to show how brutal October 10th was. If you think this is bad, October 10th was worse. You don't know what I've lived through. And this is even worse, by the way. Kalshi traders, prediction markets, are pricing in a 77% chance that Bitcoin drops below 90,000. By when? What's the deadline? Dropping below 90,000. It's gonna suck, but we would have 88,890, I guess, the only level to save us. And then from there, I'm done. I'm out for Bitcoin on futures. I'm at 5x leverage, so I don't know. I just never learn, do I? Isolated crypto sell-off. US stock market futures just opened, by the way. They're completely unfazed by the crypto decline this weekend. They just don't care. They're not crypto. They don't care about crypto. They're not involved in it. But oh boy, when the markets close and Trump announces tariffs, we'll have an October 10 style crash, believe me. Even as crypto has lost $100 billion since Friday, US stock market futures are green. Chat, is this real? S&P 500 is indeed in the green, my fellers. Recovery, kind of green. Why are we seeing this kind of recovery for crypto, for Bitcoin? That's what doesn't really make too much sense for me. Gold just opened above 4,100 an ounce. Yields are on the rise. Yeah, well, gold is 0% up today. Cool. This is a leverage and liquidation-based crypto bear market, quote unquote. A bottom forms when market structure is reestablished. We've been saying this for a while now. We're getting rid of the leverage. We're getting rid of leverage. Leverage bad. We don't want to rally with only leverage. That's just bad. We want real, organic, unadulterated growth with spot market purchases, utility people buying, and ETFs and funds and all that stuff. We don't want leverage because that seems to be a huge rise in popularity, right? The fact that we're going to bring leverage trading into American markets again, that was announced a couple weeks ago. I talked about the DEXs, how they have been rising in popularity, decentralized exchanges. You can you connect your wallet on an exchange and just, you know, easy. You can trade with leverage now and no KYC, no one knows who you are. Hyperliquid, Aster, Bluefin, Apex, what was the other one? Avantis, Sun, all these decentralized exchanges from all these different companies trying to make the best one. Once again, that Buzz Lightyear meme. It's only Hyperliquid, the only good one. And it should stay that way. So, yeah. Okay, moving on. We have some more drama between Peter Schiff and the crypto people. First of all, remember Peter Schiff calling out CZ, founder of Binance, we all know and love. He said, hey, CZ, your, what was it? Your tokenized gold, or, you know, just using crypto to tokenize sucks. I'll show you what tokenized gold is all about. Let's have a debate about it. And he's like, sure, let's do it. And they just never did it. I don't know. I think we're waiting for whatever that guy's name is. I'm trying to remember the name. Some crypto streamer to maybe host the debate between the two. Because I think he might have had one or two of them on at once. So at some point, not at the same time. So there's that still pending, or maybe it just happened and I'm completely uninformed by it. I'm sure I would have heard about it if it actually happened, the debate between Peter Schiff and CZ. But now Peter Schiff is focusing his attention on MicroStrategy, even going as far as to calling out the entire business model of MicroStrategy. He's saying it is a fraud. I mean, I would kind of agree. If you look at the price action of MicroStrategy, it's just been not good at all. Steep decline the whole time. To be fair, Bitcoin is not doing well either, but, you know, nobody likes to see this. We're breaking the uptrends. We're just in a perpetual downtrend on MicroStrategy. He's saying that Michael Saylor and, well, Peter Schiff, they will both be speaking at Binance Blockchain Week in Dubai in early December. Okay, hold on. Binance Blockchain Week in Dubai. I'm 100% certain that CZ will be there too, right? He has to. This is Dubai. This is Binance. It's an event, blockchain event. Maybe that's where the debate will happen. And the fact that Peter Schiff is proposing another debate over here, he says, I challenge Michael Saylor to debate this proposition with me about his company model. Regardless of what happens to Bitcoin, I believe MicroStrategy will eventually go bankrupt. Let's go. I don't know if we got a response from Michael Saylor just yet. I'm sure we could check it over here. But that's interesting. He might just tackle two debates at the same time. Does he reply? Do you have replies? No replies just yet. November 14. Yeah, no, nothing yet. So Michael Saylor still has yet to reply to this, but I'm sure he will. He's always appeared on podcasts and talk about stuff all the time with Bitcoin related things. So I'm sure he'll accept. And if Peter Schiff is going there, why would he go there, by the way? This is a Binance event. He hates crypto. He's pro gold. What are you doing here? Maybe it is to debate CZ. That's where they agreed to maybe meet up, and he probably figured out that Michael Saylor will be going there too, and he's like, hey, might as well challenge you to a debate too. Let's go. So we'll see. Will MicroStrategy go bankrupt? I don't know. I do know one thing though, is that MicroStrategy, I mean, yeah, well, Michael Saylor, I always mix up the names. They sound so similar. He's been hinting at, and we've covered this by the way, bigger Bitcoin buys. He's even gone on the air to basically admit, yeah, we've been making huge purchases in Bitcoin all throughout this week. And all of that is going to be revealed Monday, tomorrow. We're going to see how much he has been buying and if it's enough to satisfy our needs. Not that it really matters. It's probably buying OTC, which is probably why we don't see a big impact in the markets. That's also another thing that Peter Schiff has called him out on, right? He's like, Bitcoin dropping below 100,000. Oh boy. And Michael Saylor has been saying that he's been buying. That's what he says. Imagine if he hasn't been buying, how much lower Bitcoin would be. If he is even buying anything at all. It probably isn't that much to impact the price of Bitcoin, to be honest, right? How much money can this man put into it? Where does he even get the money from? Something strange with his business model is he just invents more money, takes out more debt to buy more Bitcoin. That kind of business model is what Michael Saylor has. But yeah, he has been saying that they've been buying quite a lot and accelerating into Bitcoin purchases. And he teases that Monday's report will be a pleasant surprise for the markets. Let's hope so. I also hope for a pleasant surprise in the fact that we'll finally see a green day for once. Am I right? What is the daily chart looking like? I bet yesterday was a green day because, yeah, well, day before. But these red candles down 2%, 1%, 2% almost, 5% down in a day. Another 1.5% barely. Daily candles are not looking pretty either. So why did I switch to a weekly chart? We'll wait and see what happens with MicroStrategy here. We also have Cardone Capital from Grant Cardone, this big billionaire man who we all know. He bought 888 Bitcoins worth $84 million. Do you guys remember when he was selling one of his mansions, I think in Florida, for, what was it, 400 Bitcoins or something like that? Which was like a couple $1 million. 30, 40 million, I think. Something like that. Or maybe it was less. I don't remember how much exactly he sold it for. Could have been 40 Bitcoins. How much is 40 Bitcoins? 400,000? No way. No, 4 million probably. That makes more sense, right? He sold a house at some point for only Bitcoin. He didn't want to accept cash, by the way. So he is moving into Bitcoin pretty heavily. And he's been pretty orange pilled, I'd say, by Michael Saylor. He's even had him on the show, right? Giga Chad believes that Bitcoin is bigger than the 4-year cycles now. So Grant Cardone asked Michael Saylor, how low can Bitcoin go? Michael Saylor didn't even flinch. He said, most of the liquidation selling is gone. We should rally from here. That's what he thinks. Then he dropped the real point. The halving isn't what drives Bitcoin anymore. Not when the market trades $100 billion a day. Not when BlackRock derivatives went from 10 billion to 50 billion in 4 weeks. Not when banks like JP Morgan can throw tens of billions into Bitcoin-backed credit. It's macro now. It's political. It's structural. Mega finance actors are steering Bitcoin now, is what he says. That's why I would kind of agree that maybe this cycle is obviously going to be different to previous cycles, because there's just so much new stuff that has been incorporated into what we're experiencing now. Fundamentals are stronger than ever. I hate to be that guy with like changing my predictions over and over again, but at this pace, it wouldn't really surprise me. I'm not saying that this will happen. Just saying it wouldn't surprise me if, sure, we could see some bearish movement for however long it takes we remain down here. If we drop below 90,000, as Kalshi says, sure, so be it. But in 2026, if what these guys are saying is true, if the bear market will probably not be a thing anymore, if this will indeed be a super cycle, people are pretty underwhelmed of, the cycle top not hitting a lot of indicators that mark cycle tops, things like that. Scott Bessent saying that next quarters of the new year will be very good for, in terms of the economy. Jerome Powell will be stepping down. We'll have somebody more in favor of cutting rates. All that kind of stuff could be different this time around, maybe. Or maybe we just go into big recession and everything crashes and we do indeed go into a bear market. That's what I do think would drive it. Not enough liquidity, yeah. Maybe. If you think in 4 to 10 years you're investing in the transformation of global finance, if you think in 12-month windows you're just trading noise. That's what he thinks about it. And either way, well, I think he's convinced Grant Cardone, to buy the 888 Bitcoins and also to dollar cost average Bitcoin every month. While many are panic selling, Grant Cardone is sticking to his playbook, DCA through the volatility. His approach is simple. The beauty of dollar cost averaging, Cardone Capital accumulates cash flow every month, and we use that to buy Bitcoin at different levels. He ordered 935, almost there. Cardone is treating every dip as an opportunity. Dips are gifts for the players with real conviction in Bitcoin. Cool. Let him do it. That's good. I'm proud of him. Arthur Hayes, hypocrite. He is dumping his bags heavily. This is BitMEX founder, CEO. He sold 260 Ethereums, which is $820,000. He sold 2.4 million Athenas, which is $651,000. He sold 640,000 Lido DAO. I think this is, right? LDO. Yeah, Lido DAO. $480,000. Sold some Aave, $289,000. And Uniswap, $209,000. I don't remember if he bought Hyperliquid again yet. I don't remember if he was doing anything with Astra, I don't think. But he was definitely buying Zcash. So there you go. That's his little updates on what he's doing. If you have Ethereum, Athena, Lido DAO, Aave, Uniswap, maybe this guy knows something. No, he doesn't. He doesn't know anything. He doesn't know what he's doing. Peter Thiel, big billionaire CEO man, selling off Nvidia and Tesla shares heavily. That's not good. Michael Burry, we already know, shorted Nvidia and Palantir. Now we're finding out that Peter Thiel is selling us big tech stocks. What do they know? What I do know is Japan. Japan is going crazy right now. They will be dropping 17 trillion yuans. No, yens. Yuan is China. 17 trillion yens of stimulus That liquidity could flow into risk assets like crypto. I don't know if that's a top priority, but maybe. Japan's FSA moves to classify crypto as financial products and slash taxes to 20%, something we have kind of talked about before, but pretty much confirmed at this point. In American dollars, by the way, that's $110 billion plus of a stimulus package they're considering. Trump will be giving us $2,000 dividend check sometime next year, by the way. Maybe that will drive any rise that we get next year. JP Morgan expects $300 billion plus liquidity injection from TGA in 4 weeks. China is pumping trillions into its economy. Bank of Canada to restart quantitative easing program because we suck. The Fed will end quantitative tightening next month in December. The exact opposite happened at the 2021 peak when governments stopped quantitative easing and started to hike rates. This time everyone is cutting rates and planning or doing liquidity injection. The case for a prolonged bear market looks weak. Good idea as well. Maybe. We shall see. Japan's 10-year government bond yield is surging to its highest level since June 2008 after talks of a $110 billion stimulus package. That's good. Good for Japan. Is their stock index going up? Are they open yet? Nikkei 445? No, 225. No, we're not rising at all. That's crazy. People clearly don't care. Nice. Liquidity is going up. I don't know. You say there's not enough liquidity, but there's talks about a lot of liquidity about to be injected. So, I mean, we also do see huge amounts of money flowing in and out of gold during times of panic. That kind of money could easily just duplicate the price of Bitcoin. From its peak to where it is right now, gold, that amount of money that has been flowing in and out of gold, for example, just gold in itself is enough. We will follow global inflation for crypto. Yeah. Well, in crypto's case, yeah, we obviously are pretty oversold. Stocks, other assets for sure. Yeah, I agree. Bitcoin looks like it's in a bear trap. Okay, Japan just opened the door today. They're considering $110 billion stimulus package, one of the largest in years. This is a direct fiscal expansion, cash support, tax relief, sector incentives. Whenever Japan does this, two things happen. Yen weakens, capital moves outward into higher return global assets. What's her name again? Sanae Takaishi. I love that name. The president, prime minister, whatever it is, of Japan. The lady, what is her name? Real estate company investments, etc. Yeah. That flow alone creates a liquidity wave that usually hit risk assets first, and Bitcoin tends to lead that reaction because it prices liquidity faster than equities. And this is happening exactly when the US is reaching its own inflection point. The shutdown ended. Treasury general account is still sitting at $960 billion. JP Morgan expects $300 billion outflow from TGA in 4 weeks. Quantitative tightening is slowing. Will end on December 1st. Apart from this, China is considering pumping 1 trillion yuans, I guess, every week into the economy. Okay, that's new. All these together point toward the same direction. Global liquidity is shifting towards more easing, which is the exact opposite of what happened at the end of 2021 when we initiated a bear market. Doesn't mean that it's instant moon right now. It means that Bitcoin is more likely in a bear trap before the next possible move starts. Let's hope so, and let's hope that the doesn't go below 85,000, because then I'm doomed for eternity. I won't be able to financially recover from that. This was funny. It made me laugh. Americans are heating up their homes with Bitcoin this winter. Are you cold in your house? Just mine Bitcoin. It'll overheat your computer and you'll be nice and cozy in your bedroom. So that's pretty cool. I don't think I've ever gotten into mining. Don't think I ever will. That's way too expensive and I'm just gonna cause a big issue. An ethical way of doing it, by the way, is renting an Airbnb and just using their electricity, of course. You don't have to pay the bills for the electricity, but, you know. There is apparently somebody who actually got the reward, like the 3 Bitcoin reward for mining Bitcoin successfully while renting out an Airbnb. He only paid like a couple $100s for staying there the few days that it was. And then, you know, obviously profiting 3 and something Bitcoins, that's $300,000 or whatever. Instant profit, crazy stuff. But you got to be really lucky with that, with the Bitcoin mining. Key events this week. What to look out for. Fed manufacturing data coming out Monday. No one cares. Fed meeting minutes, FOMC minutes. That's going to be more important. That's happening Wednesday. Nvidia will report their earnings. What? Didn't they already do that? Are you lying, sir? Stagflation, bears and bulls equally have strong arguments. That is true. Honestly, like, I've been feeling that. I don't know which one to believe at this point. I'm obviously biased in the bull case because I'm in it. Like, I've got money on the line. But I also, like, still do genuinely see the arguments for bulls. Like, there is a lot of good fundamentals and things are pointing toward money printers. But then, you know, the bearish case is there as well. So, yeah. I was looking up here. Nvidia. I'm pretty sure we already had Nvidia earnings. No, it's not real. We're actually having them on Wednesday. Okay, well, Nvidia earnings coming out Wednesday. There you go. Confirmed. You heard it here first. With all the selling off on Nvidia, I don't think it's going to impact it at all, really. Michael Burry being short or bearish on it. What's his name? Who did I just talk about? I can't remember what I just talked about. That's crazy. The other guy. Well, whoever's selling off Nvidia too. Whatever. September jobs reports coming out Thursday. Manufacturing data Thursday. October exit home sales Thursday. November PMI services data Friday. November manufacturing PMI data Friday. Michigan consumer sentiment data Friday. Michigan inflation expectations data Friday. Total of 14 Fed speaker events this week. What do those guys have to say, man? Buckle up, folks. Economic data is back. Well, yeah, that's what we get for any of the government shutdown, sure. But no, we definitely do need it, so it's fine. Let it all come out little by little. Give us the data, the hard truth. Let us pump or let us dump, all for once. AI will produce efficient workflow and returns, but loss of jobs globally is equally as bearish. Yeah, that is true. Cool. My last bit of news. Elon Musk's X to add account country labels disclosing where users are based in this week. That'll be cool because we're getting a lot of bots that are claiming to be one thing when they're obviously from a different thing. The best example is like Indian accounts, like who are actually from India, but they're claiming to be, I don't know, pro-Russia or pro-Israel or pro-America. Like that kind of stuff. So it's like, okay, well, you're clearly fake and you're engagement farming to get revenue on Twitter. So we're going to out those people and, you know, whatever. I don't know. Be racist about it. It's up to you. We're on the rise. 95,161. Cool. Please keep rising. Hey, if we had midnight above 96,145, I think I'll remain bullish. No, I don't think we will, though. But if we do, that'll be good. That's the weekly chart that I'm looking at my time zone. But no, we must respect UTC 0 time zone. Whatever time zone that is. UTC 0. 5 hours difference. Is that to the west or to the right? Where is UTC 0? This is a stupid question to ask. It's the... Okay, so it's to the east side of us, which is basically Iceland. Why does Iceland get the priority here? I'm guessing it's the prime meridian line, right? The vertical line that goes across, not across, vertically through the planet like that. Through the UK, through Iceland. That's UTC 0. Fine. I'll allow it. And we're 5 hours behind that, I guess. Yeah, it's true. I remember trying to play, I used to play this game, and it's a dead game in North America. It's very popular in places like Europe and Russia, right? It's basically mobile Counter-Strike standoff 2. And you would have to, if you want to play competitive, you would have to go to switch your server to that region. So, you know, that way you can find a match. Otherwise, you know, you need 10 people in total in a lobby to get a match going because it's a 5v5 mode. And then, you know, it would be like 3 a.m. for them, but you'd still, like, even still, at, like, talking about right now, if it's like 10 p.m., it'd be like sometime like 3 a.m. over there. And you would still find a match because everybody just goes to those servers, because every other server in the world, like you go to Japan server, you go to American servers, they're dead. Like there's nobody playing in that. So that's just a funny side note. RuneScape time. Yeah, I've never played RuneScape, but I've seen so much memes about it. I've seen some videos on it, but yeah. All right, what do I expect? I'm going to be bearish for once. We're going down. We're going down to 91,415. Screw this crypto stuff. Fill up the CME gap. Rise to 100K. Close out my position. Buy spot. Trade futures. Very short term with stop loss. Use a strategy. Maybe. Or maybe I'll just chicken out. What if like Bitcoin teleports right now to 100 and let's say 103,000? What would I do? I would get greedy and I would be like, oh, look, no, the trend just flipped in the 4-hour chart. We're really close to my average entry price. I'm not going to close at a loss. What are you, crazy? That's losing. You're losing money. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to wait till Bitcoin goes above 105, 106,000, and maybe I'll put a stop loss and break even. Like that's how I would react. So I don't know. Right now, I'll just leave it. I'll leave it to its own, do nothing, and wait to see how things play out. But for the altcoins, oh, you better believe I will indeed be putting stop losses on those. Although with the altcoins, I'm not even losing that much. I'm losing a lot, obviously, but like not at as big of a risk of getting liquidated. Like I'm barely halfway for most of them. Some of them I am halfway, but it's not a big deal. I'm fine. I could survive another drop like this for another week and I'll still be fine. I'll be dangerously close to getting liquidated or something, but I'll be fine nonetheless. We're still on the rise. 95,300 now. 400. Okay, I'm going to stop jinxing it by looking at the charts. That is all for tonight, guys. I will see you tomorrow. We're going to talk about... What economic data are we getting? Canada inflation rate. No one cares about that. What is this? Use of my data. You want to use my data? You're going to collect information about my geolocation within several meters. You're going to scan my device actively. Fingerprints. Can I not allow this? I can't read English. You know what? Allow all. You can find my information. Go for it. Okay. I wanted to see what feds we're talking. Williams, Jefferson, Kashkari, Waller, Logan. Bar will be on Tuesday. Where is Moran? Williams again on Wednesday. Come on, brother. Fed Hammock on Thursday. Yeah. Fed Williams. No Fed Moran. Rest in peace. Okay, well, no Fed Moran. No reason to be bullish from the feds. Alright, cool. I mean, some of them are. Kashkari is fine, I think. No, Kashkari was evil. Waller is fine. Rest of them are who cares. We found out Kruger was doing insider trading, by the way, confirmed yesterday. That's why she had to step down. Alright. Yeah, that's all for tonight, though. Thanks, guys, so much for watching. Thank you, Daniel. See you in the chat. So, yeah. Have a great rest of your evening. Talk to you tomorrow. Bye.